Bracketology presented by Upwork, the world's work marketplace. Find a developer, designer, and more on Upwork.com. Taking a look at Jerry Palm's bracketology breakdown. Last four in, first four out. Despite the loss, Jerry still has Xavier in at the moment. Big game today. Indiana and Michigan turning hopes on the line, and the return of Juwan Howard after a 5-game suspension. With more on the brackets and the march towards Selection Sunday, let's welcome in Matt Norlander, who's going to be finished with us and then heading to both the ACC and Big East tournaments. But let's start at the Big East. Xavier out of the Big East. Wake Forest also in the ACC suffering some bad losses yesterday. Take me through each team's fate, starting with Xavier.
Oh, boy. How about both these teams losing overtime games they might have needed to have? I think Xavier is slightly better right now than Wake Forest. That was reflected in the graphic we just showed on screen with Jerry Palm, but I wouldn't be overly confident here. So Xavier, you can see the record, the net ranking as it refreshed overnight, they fell. They're not going to be top 40 in any of these rankings, I think, by the time we get to Selection Sunday overall. Non-conference strength of schedule is 124, which is going to help them. You see the overall net, that includes the Big East. I want to be clear about something as we show that. The net includes their conference, which is fine, but the committee will also look at non-conference to see how ambitious they were outside of league play when they scheduled. Best wins are against UConn and Ohio State. We'll see. I don't know. You can easily make the case that they don't deserve to be in, but I think they're better. I think they're better than Wake Forest, which non-conference was 338, fell to 44th in the net overnight, isn't top 35 in any team sheet metric. Wake Forest not scheduling well out of conference, I think, is going to ding them. And how about this? They've got one quad one win. Xavier's got more than that. They've got one quad one win. They've got two quad three losses, 4-3 in quad two. Best win is at Virginia Tech. That's okay. I mean, worst loss, well, they had it yesterday against Boston College there. So you see it here. Again, I want to emphasize that net strength of schedule includes the ACC play. When you remove that from the equation and just go Wake Forest non-conference strength of schedule, it's abysmal. It's 338. The committee historically will punish teams that are really at the bottom of non-conference strength of schedule. It's understandable why Steve Forbes in his second season, after getting the job in the pandemic, would not have scheduled ambitiously. Because frankly, if you gave that staff truth serum, they might have thought they weren't even all that likely to make an NCAA tournament run this season. But they were better than everyone expected them to be. And I don't think Wake Forest is going. I would be genuinely surprised if Wake Forest was in the field when we got to Selection Sunday.
All right, let's get to today. Indiana and Michigan, 8-9 matchup, the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, a lot at stake here. Jerry last night seemed to think that if Michigan won this game, it'd be enough. Indiana, he thinks, maybe needs to beat Illinois again to do that. How do you evaluate and handicap both of these teams and this game?
I tend to agree with Jerry. If Michigan wins, it's going to probably enough. As we speak here on a Thursday morning, team sheet metric-wise, Michigan is top 40 in everything, and a win would improve them all the more. They're 31st in the net. Their best team sheet metric is actually Sagarin, where they're 20th there. Indiana, and by the way, if you're looking at this and you're like, well, why is one team with a 17-13 record in a better spot than a team with an 18-12 record? It's not just about overall record. It's who you played, who you beat. You can see the quad one mark. Yeah, they're just fine, but Michigan's got 5 of them in the quad one. Indiana's just at 3 and 7. Indiana, it's blatantly obvious Indiana has to win this game to keep its hopes alive. We'll see if a win over Illinois is absolutely necessary. I would recommend Indiana win 2 more. Michigan should be good. Now, a Michigan loss, if Michigan loses, it will be 17-14. And as Palm, I believe, has mentioned on HQ, and we talked about it on the Eye on College Basketball podcast, if you remove last year when the schedule didn't allow for teams to play as many games in a normal season as most other years because of the pandemic, in normal seasons, quote-unquote normal seasons, the only time that there's been a team since 1993-94 that was 3 games or fewer above 500 and got in as an at-large was Georgia in 2001. Michigan would be 3 games above 500 if it lost to Indiana. I think it would be very dicey if Michigan lost to Indiana in order to get in, but I do think it still has a decent chance. Just for an example, Tommy, a Michigan loss to Indiana that's close on Thursday, I kind of still like Michigan's chances more than even Xavier or Wake Forest, but the committee is going to have a fascinating job ahead of them, and we'll have to wait and see what they end up deciding.
All right, let's pick up the pace a little bit here. Florida and A&M, what's the Gators' perspective?
I'll be faster on this. Florida has to win. A&M, if it can put together a couple more wins, then maybe we'll look up in Texas A&M. We'll see that they've got something of an at-large resume, but they're not as close, in my opinion, as Florida. Mike White absolutely has to have this game. If he doesn't, they have no shot. They absolutely have no shot. Right now, Florida is 54th in the net. Doesn't have a team sheet metric inside the top 40. I think the Gators need 2. I'd say the Gators need to win at least 2 to get themselves into a good spot there. Overall, they don't have anything that's atrocious in quad 3. They do have one quad 4 loss that's really bringing them down. That's the biggest thing for them. And then, by the way, aside from all the bracket stuff, it's just rumor mill. Will Mike White be the coach there if they don't go to the tournament? That's certainly buzzing. Who's to say for sure? But a loss here, if you told me Florida loses on Thursday and then we look up by Monday or Tuesday and maybe someone else could be coaching at Florida, it wouldn't stun me.
Get you out of here on this. Coach K and BOEHEIM buddy suspension, the added drama to this.
Yeah, and how about this? So Syracuse won't have Buddy Boeheim. I thought it was the right call to sit him for a game. You can't have that. Duke, I was at its last game at home versus North Carolina. How good will Duke look coming out of here? Duke's still playing to, ensure it gets a 2 seed. I got to be honest, Tommy. If Duke were to lose to Syracuse today, a 3 seed probably would be likely for the Blue Devils, in my opinion. There, Syracuse is trying to, get into the tournament with an automatic berth. No Buddy. It's going to be a huge task, but these two men, they've coached on Team USA together. They're wonderful friends. They get to go up against each other one more time. You can see the stats here. BOEHEIM has more wins than that, just not officially because of the NCAA wiping out some wins due to prior violations there. But yeah, it's a meeting between two really, really good coaches. I'll be at Barclays Center to see this up close and personal. And frankly, I'm kind of just wondering if Syracuse can keep it within 15 points. I kind of think that Duke is going to come out laser focused, and Syracuse is going to be quickly sent home packing after a nice win on Wednesday. But no Buddy Boeheim makes it I'm going to say a near impossible task. Not that it can't be done. It just seems highly unlikely without their best player.
Matt, certainly appreciate it. Safe travels, and again, a lot of basketball to be played today. Matt, the co-host of the Eye on College Basketball podcast with Gary Parrish. Download and follow the guys. Again, bracketology on the list. Gonzaga, the #1 overall seed. Is it? ? Big bubble teams, a lot of that and more in the latest edition.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.